Oh my God, you guys, hey, welcome back. American Perspective this Friday with your host, Noél Roberts, Patriot Mom 007 here in Arizona. And it's 12:08. So thanks for hanging out for the extra eight. As usual, we love to challenge ourselves, and this Friday is no different IT wise. So we are here, and we have, as always, a really great guest coming up in just a couple of minutes. Inesa is her name, and she'll have a lot to share with us that I did not know anything about either. And so, really excited to hear from her today. But we do have a lot going on. And we didn't do as much last week, but this week last week we talked to Art Del Cueto was in the house, and all this ICE, the issues of revolving around people attacking our ICE agents across the nation continue. And, they're just doing their jobs, which is to help us get any illegal immigrants, criminal ones, really mostly off the streets as fast as possible, certainly the dangerous ones. And that continues for them because that's their job, and that's just what they do every day when they put the uniform on. The things that are happening to them are unfortunate. And the first item that I wanted to bring up, this came up. So this was reported by Fox, widely reported yesterday morning, and we're going to listen to Fox's Bill Melugin. He's been on the border for several years through the last administration, and here in Arizona and Texas, he hung out and probably had a cot along the riverbed of the banks in the Rio Grande because he was reporting every day for months and months and months. And now that we're down to next to nothing and hardly anyone coming through illegally, he's reporting other areas now, including the ICE issues. And yesterday they had a raid in California, as they are around the country. And there were some suspected illegal immigrants. They rolled up on them, right? And they scattered. We're going to see this on the video. I'm just going to set it up for you just for a second. It was at the Home Depot. Now, I know people are really down about them going after people in groups like this, whether it's farm or the stores like the Home Depots. But we have to say, within the good people, if you will, the people who want to come and get their citizenship and who are working for their families and legitimately want to be here, there are so many bad people. And unfortunately for the good people who are in that first category, the ICE agents and law enforcement in general, they cannot tell who the good people are from the criminal elements. And it's just their job to keep our streets safe for all of us all the time. And so unfortunately, these things happen where people get swept up. But in getting swept up, they're also sweeping up a bunch of the bad people still in all the raids. And so this one with Bill Melugin is kind of interesting because I'm going to say this for those who think that they're just rounding people up aimlessly. Border Patrol surveilled the location, this particular location, and they ran plates that were coming in and out of the location for 2 days before they went in and executed any type of arrest situation. And so they're not just willy-nilly running around in their uniforms, yes, with their faces covered for their own protection and the security of their family. They're not doing that randomly. They're actually doing the work of law enforcement, which is to find out who they need to arrest. And in this particular case, they made about 10 arrests, and one did include a US citizen, which we're going to see toward the end of this video. So I want to set that up and let you know to take a listen for that if you hadn't heard, because there's some people that are saying, and yesterday on the Five, actually, Jessica Tarloff, if you don't watch it, she did mention a story about them snapping up US citizens like randomly, like, and ICE is collecting US citizens was basically her comment. I don't know if she was in reference to this particular story, but it happened to coincide yesterday morning with the Five yesterday afternoon. So I feel like she might have been referencing this. And the gentleman, the man who they arrested, his wife was yelling, and you'll hear it from Bill say, "Stop, he is a US citizen." And the agent's response, Bill Melugin will let us know what that is. So go ahead with number one now that you guys have the idea what's going on.
Take a look. As soon as we pulled up to a local Home Depot out here, suspected illegal immigrants started taking off running in all different directions as soon as they saw federal agents. That led to several different foot pursuits as agents were chasing them down and arresting them. We ultimately saw about 10 different people being arrested by those federal agents, and Border Patrol telling us that records checks came back on one of the guys already, showing that he is an aggravated felon with a prior conviction for fentanyl trafficking. Then take a look at this video. This was a guy who said he was a U.S. citizen fleeing from federal agents after they say he slashed the tires on one of their vehicles. You'll see him running away. He then gets taken to the ground and he tangles with agents while he's on the ground. It appeared he kind of lunged at one of them, and you'll see the aftermath of that. Take a look at this picture right here. Those federal agents ended up macing that man in his face, took him into custody and took him away. His wife was yelling at agents the whole time, saying he's a U.S. citizen. The agent said, too bad, he slashed one of our tires. And then take a look at these photos here. We do have photos of the vehicle that had the tire slashed. There was one puncture mark. It quickly deflated, and the agents had to drive out of the area on their rims. We caught up with the Border Patrol chief out here in charge of this operation, and we asked him, why did you decide to come here to Sacramento? Here's what he had to say.
There is no sanctuary city. Sacramento is not a sanctuary city. The state of California is not a sanctuary state. There is no sanctuary anywhere. We'll be here. You'll probably see us in many other locations as well. We're here to stay. We're not going anywhere. We're going to effect this mission and secure the homeland.
And I did reach out to California Governor Gavin Newsom's office to get their reaction, their response to this operation right here on their front doorstep. They tell us in part, quote, trying to escape a court order, stepping their reprehensible, can't talk today, trying to escape a court order stopping their reprehensible and illegal racial profiling and illegal arrests in Los Angeles. Border Patrol came to Sacramento and spread more of their chaos and fear. They should do their jobs at the border. We'll send it back to you.
Incredible reporting. As always, Bill Melugin, thank you very much.
So, as you can see, that was a full story. Instead of just the 29-second clip, actually, I was going to share with you about the U.S. citizen who was arrested for slashing the tires of Border Patrol and ICE vehicles, which is what they were putting out, and I'm sure that's how it's being reported. The whole story involves the investigation for that particular location, running the plates, and targeting those that were found to have records, many of them dangerous, and had already been arrested, and then the U.S. citizen who they wrapped up also for doing this crime. So this is a crime, this is vandalism. You can't go around slashing people's tires. I don't care if it's my tires or ICE tires. That is a crime. And so I think it's kind of rich that these people who are trying to harm our law enforcement, get in the way of, throw rocks, bottles at their cars, jump on their vehicles. I know somebody I think was hurt the other day. We had an agent yesterday morning. I don't know if it was Texas sector or Tucson sector, but he was dragged from a car and ended up in the hospital. His whole entire arm was rashed and exposed skin from that. And this is not okay. So I say, good job, law enforcement. And those who don't like law enforcement, well, you'll need them one day if something happens to you or your family members. So you got to remember that and keep that in perspective. But Gregory Bovino, El Centro Sector Chief Patrol Agent, it's good to see someone in California on board with law enforcement right now. And they did also reveal that one of the arrested men, if you didn't hear, is aggravated felon with prior conviction for fentanyl trafficking. And the reason that's important is because President Trump recently enacted a law regarding fentanyl and what it's been doing to ravaged families. We're going to hear about that later in the show. So I just want you to be aware that this is not all about just the MS-13ers, the gangs, the murderers, rapists, and the like, which is also bad. But this fentanyl issue has been plaguing us for many years. It's gotten worse. Nobody's done anything about it the last 4 years prior to this new administration coming in. And so it's interesting that they did bring that to light, because you should remember people are dying every day. Now it's down to like 16 to 48 is the average age, and it's killing more people in that age category than I think anything else right now in America. So we do need to stop that. And then We've got, oh, number two was another picture of the man, the US citizen who, there he is. Yeah. So he got maced. I mean, not a great end of his day for sure. And that does look pretty painful. But when what do they say? FAFO, right? Um, goof around and find out, I guess. So we'll change that up. But yeah, go to jail, throw away the key. This is not okay. And I'm sure his friends align with him. So I would just say warning to all those who think this is okay, that you might want to think twice. They will arrest you, whether you are a US citizen or whether you're here illegally. Committing a crime, either way, is going to land you in jail if they get their hands on you. So we do like to see that. And yesterday, speaking of, all these things happening. I don't think we haven't really focused back on President Trump in a while, but Butler, PA just happened the first year anniversary with the assassination attempt, one of the three assassination attempts over a short period of time against the president. And yesterday, in one of my text strings here in Arizona, a lot of this group worked the Arizona audit with me a few years ago. So they're very involved in what's happening. They do keep advised of all the news, and they're invested, as we all are. But my one friend, Annette, she mentioned that President Trump should be afraid right now. And as the ICE agents are being doxxed and threatened, President Trump's life is still threatened. There's a daily threat all the time. And so I find it incredible. I was thinking about this, that he never appears to be afraid. In fact, it's quite the opposite, with so many out trying to get him, so to speak. And that by that, I mean kill him. Iran, I think, just imposed a new bounty on his head 2 days ago. I am surprised that he is walking around openly as much as he does. I think it's frankly a little dangerous, but I know that he's not one to cower. And I'm sure he has his people doing as many measures safety wise as possible as humans can do to make sure that he does stay safe. But I was thinking, we do need to say prayers for our president. I think all the time from now through his entire presidency, because his family and his inner circle as well. They are all targets. They put their lives on the line for us to work for our country. I don't think people really think of it in terms of that. And I know a lot of people are negative towards this administration and those working within it. But for anyone who does take a negative position or bashes President Trump regularly as a habit, let's say, I would just say to ask yourself one question. Would you be willing to risk your life, and not only your life, because you have a target on your back every day that you wake up, but also the lives of your family, your closest friends, and your inner circle working with you and for you, and to try to help the rest of the country in his estimation, right? They work for a country full of citizens and non-citizens who are actively plotting against every move they make every day. Many of them only want his demise and those around him, figuratively and in reality. So if you answered no, and you think to yourself, I would never risk my life, my family's, or my closest friends to help correct all the grave and dangerous errors within our country, then I think there's one thing left to do. And I think it's to thank the person who's willing to do that for you. It's President Donald Trump. He is, if you're not willing to put your life on the line for people you've never met as he does every day, then I don't believe you should really have the right to criticize anyone who does. And I challenge anyone out there to give an opposing point to this, one that makes sense. No rants, of course. I need actual common sense facts to back up your thoughts on this. But whether it's about President Trump or those serving in his administration, this also, I think, should extend to all our first responders. I talk about them all the time. I'm a big proponent of law enforcement. Law and order is really important here. All the other countries seem to approve of that method as well. But it extends to our fire police, of course, all our military. Even I was at a school board thing yesterday. Our school resource officers, they are on campus to protect our young students. Our crossing guards, who are danger in the streets of America when they're doing crossing guard duty. People are dangerously driving, actually, and don't pay attention. And of course, it extends to our ACE agents. Basically, anyone willing to wear a uniform and willing to serve others, often with their own lives. I think we should be more mindful of who is helping us and who is not. We should honor them, and we should certainly be grateful for what they do, and really so that we don't have to, because they're doing it for us. And we should always thank them, as I do mention, no matter where you are, try to thank them. And that is my American perspective on this. So I hope that makes more sense to you and you give it some thought, because these people are really important to keeping us safe and our families safer. And we can't always do that for ourselves, not with these bad guys out there running around. And there's a lot of them, certainly here in Arizona, but in your state as well. So wherever you're watching from, maybe keep that in mind and give a nod to those who are willing to do that for you and your family without even knowing you every day. That includes our military overseas. So with that, so we're going to roll through this because Inesa is going to have a lot of really interesting information. And again, we're going to be in a scientific zone that I need extra help with understanding. So we want to give her all the time possible. So we're going to hear from our friend at Mycronic Silver, Jeff Adam, and his company and all the amazing products he has. And then we'll come back and we'll get right into our guest and what she has to share with us. So go ahead, Robert, with that.
Silver has been used for centuries for natural human health and has proven to be an effective alternative as a defense against germs, bruises, bacteria, and disease. Mycronic Silver technology is superior to other silver products and is specially formulated to work with your immune system for an affordable, natural health choice. Check out mychronicsilver.net today and see why customers are choosing Mycronic Silver, fast-acting and reliable. That's mychronicsilver.net.
All right. So you guys, like I say, Patriot Mom 007 will get you 10% off Mycronic Silver. I suggest trying any of their products at any time. They are universal, some of them. The supplement, odorless, colorless, tasteless, pretty much. It has a taste, but it's a kind of a nondescript taste. So it doesn't taste good or bad. It's just there. And then the nasal spray, I mentioned that if you have allergies out here, allergies are terrible in Arizona, try it. I started using it when I was sick last year. It sped up my healing process by days. I was only sick for 2 days. It was pretty amazing. I was actually pretty impressed. And then there's a balm that I've been using and a spray, a topical spray that works on cuts and scrapes and burns. And out here, my son got sunburned a couple weeks ago. And so did his friend. He ended up hijacking my bottle of topical spray and taking it to work, which I had to promptly say, please bring that back. I use it. And, but he gave it to his friend at work and helped his sunburn heal up in a couple days. So that was great. I'm glad he did that. But do try the products for yourself. And when you do, if you find them to be helpful, write in and let us know so that we can keep track of, what I use and what I try to share with people. I also want feedback because we want to make sure that what we're providing as far as resources or any links or any items of products, that they are good, and we want you guys to have the best products possible these days with all the toxins and chemicals that we know exist, with all the information Maha has brought out, not just with the foods but also our personal care products. We really do need to be more mindful and work from the inside out to make sure that we're healthier going forward for us and our families. And with that, we are going to watch a quick video. It's just a little over a minute. It's from Nesa's Hemp, and that's who we're going to be talking to is Inesa. And we're just going to get a little information from this video, and then we're going to bring her on after her bio. So let's do that.
Nesa's Hemp. Discover the world's finest CBD hemp oil. Derived from premium genetics, we cultivate our hemp in the world's most remote places, untouched by man and free from harmful fungi. When mature, each plant is cut by hand and immediately processed using our proprietary living hemp extraction method. Keeping each plant alive during this critical process allows us to preserve the full medicinal profile and maintain an array of cannabinoids and other natural compounds that can only be found in Nesa's hemp products. These precise formulas so accurately match the body's natural endocannabinoid system that results can be seen in as little as 3 minutes. Nesa's exclusive formulations are crafted using the absolute highest quality, all-natural, non-GMO ingredients, and every single batch is tested by third-party labs to ensure safety and quality. From our soil to your soul, this is nature's solution in its purest form.
Okay, you guys. So I'd like to give you a little bit of her bio. Very interesting. Inesa, and I'm not going to attempt her last name until I talk with her. So forgive me in the back room for that, Inesa, but I'm going to let you share that with me so I don't kill it. She is a visionary entrepreneur and wellness advocate. Dedicated to promoting natural healing through CBDa and holistic health solutions. She was raised in Lithuania under challenging circumstances. Her early life instilled in her a strong work ethic and deep compassion. Inesa's passion is helping millions find holistic health solutions, experience the healing of power of nature, and unlock the benefits of CBDA for body, mind, and spirit. Through her work with Nesa's Hemp, Inesa continues to inspire and impact lives worldwide. Every batch is officially recognized by independent labs, registered with the FDA, the DEA, and ISO, and you can review all lab reports on their website. Some of the benefits we're going to find out about include promoting better sleep, improves digestion, reduces aches and pains, can help stabilize moods, and help ease mental tension. Also, some of the therapeutic results I cannot wait to hear about involve just kind of dealing with addressing chronic pain, obesity, anxiety and depression, multiple sclerosis, and Alzheimer's and cancer. And, we've been talking about the cancer with our rncstore.com Rick Hill recently. And so my understanding, and we're going to get the scoop on this too, is that hemp is not habit forming, has no psychoactive properties, so it won't make you high, and can be taken long term. So we're looking forward to learning more about all of this. And I would like to welcome to American Perspective our guest, Inesa. So here she is. Hello.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me here today. I
Of,
really enjoyed it.
of
Listening
course,
to
of
your
course.
show.
So we have not met before officially, which is often the case. So I appreciate, I always say thanks for coming on and just blindly trusting me with all your information because you don't really know what I'm going to do with it. But it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Let's see. So I do want to really, I'm interested before we get into some of the detail stuff, because some of these issues that we talk about, these products, it does get pretty complicated for people. I don't know anything about these items. I've heard about hemp products, of course. There was hair. I've been in salon beauty industry for 30 years. And, we had hemp products come out years ago for the hairlines, but not in this respect. So I'm really interested to really talk first. Well, first, okay, let's start here. Let's start at the beginning. Tell me about, so Lithuania, I don't know much about. I know that they produce beautiful women, clearly, if you're any indication of this. So that I know that. So I'm like looking at your videos, like, wow, this woman is like stunningly like a model. So I guess that your country, good job, Lithuania. Smart too, right? Highly intelligent. But tell us about your journey to America first, and then we'll get into some of the benefits that I mentioned, and then we'll go a little bit deeper into the science. But let's hear from you about yourself.
Thank you for that. And I think listening a few minutes prior I joined this call about the arrests and everything, how immigrants getting arrested and they getting arrested for submitting certain crimes in this country, it kind of actually brought me back 10 years ago, because it literally reminded me where I came from and also what I had to go through to become a legal citizen in this country. So it wasn't having a blood on my hands because I hurt somebody, but because I worked 20 hours a day, 7 days a week to accomplish my American dream. So, like, I feel like when I'm listening these stories and I'm thinking, these people are crazy, or like, what are you doing here? Like, you literally just brought me to my memories because I'm so busy saving lives, not through just products or other things I do, but like through my, my wellness and my programs that I develop for people. So what I'm saying here, it really brought me back because when I came to States, I came with a big heart, a big vision. I decided to stay here with the big vision, and I had absolutely nothing. So when you pass through your 90 days as you stay in America as a visitor, you become automatically legal. I made that mistake. I became illegal, and it took me 5 to 7 years to become legal. And I'm talking to the point where not just trying to figure out how to pay taxes legally and trying to almost kill yourself at that point to so how you can pay taxes, how you can do whatever it takes to become that legal citizen. You go above and beyond to prove yourself so you can stay in this country by working beyond hard and trying to be beyond a good human being. Not just for yourself, not just for God, but also for this country. So when I'm seeing those crazy things on the streets, I was like, these people have no idea because math is very simple. If you really work in this country gives you everything. I don't care what part of the world you are in, Dubai, Lithuania, you know, I come to America and every time I come here, I literally want to kiss the ground. How much I love this country. If you're miserable in this country because you just think you're miserable and this country doesn't serve your needs and there's something happening or they don't like your white skin or black skin or whatever, please stop this. Okay, I've been under the bridge. I've been attacked by because of this, what you mentioned, looks. Somebody wanted to take advantage of me. You run away. You keep fighting for this country gave you everything, good and bad. Don't focus on bad. Focus how much good we have here. This is the best country in the world. And if somebody ever complains, please come talk to me. I have a problem with these people because this is insane. I used to work so hard where I didn't drink coffee, but I used to put my face in the ice cubes to keep myself awake 7 days a week. Guess what? I did accomplish. People look at me. She's like 37 years old and she has all these things going on. And yes, there's no investors. Yes, I follow very simple rules. Work very hard, follow what God tells you, and just be always honest with people and yourself. It's very simple. And this country gives you the rest. That's it.
Well, that's amazing that you said that because I'm first generation born here. My father's from Syria. And so to hear you say that as you did and how grateful you are for the country and what it affords you. And so that's why people don't understand. And so I'm glad you brought that up because people don't understand, what our law enforcement and our government now is doing to get rid of the illegal people. I mean, the really illegal people is because there's others like you and many who come, my parents, my relatives who come with the best in interest to the country for themselves and their families, but for our country, and they want to assimilate and integrate properly as you would in any country in the world. And so it's nice to hear your perspective on that. And you're right, it takes hard work. Everything takes hard work. And look at where it's brought you now. You have an amazing company. You're helping millions around the world. And it's Nesa's Hemp, you guys. If you haven't heard of this, you'll want to go to the description in my channels at Patriot_Mom007. Everything's up there now. We're on today live on Rumble, Facebook, X, and YouTube, and then Arizona Live Data and a few other channels. But in the descriptions there, you'll see her information. So I do always encourage you while we're talking, hop on while we're talking, get the link out for her website and start, clicking around and following along what we're saying. And that way, you'll have a really good understanding, hopefully by the end of the show. And then she'll explain the rest is our goal. And that way, when you go to look online to buy any of the items, you'll get a little 101 tutorial right here today that you can refer back to on everything Inesa shares with us. So let's talk first about some of the benefits without going into the therapeutic side of the chronic pain and all of that, but just lightly sleeping. I mean, I'm in my 50s. My sleeping is atrocious. I get maybe 5 hours a night. Digestion also horrific for 20 plus years. Aches and pains, that comes just with age. So I think we all have those. Mood stabilization. I recently went on some bioidentical hormones, the little pellets I'm taking this last year, which have made all the difference in the world for me. But not everybody wants to do that. And so that mood is a big deal, especially for women as we get past that 50 point. And of course, mental tension, who doesn't have a little tension in their lives? And then mentally it affects us. So just those few things, like tell us how this product kind of targets any of that and some of what you've seen from testimonials maybe that you've heard over this time with your users.
First, I think I'm gonna really share what's the most important today. I'm gonna break every truth you know about hemp or CBD today. I am gonna really explain to people what the CBDA is and how critically is essential to your body. And the products that are sold on the market is actually dangerous to people, while the plant itself is actually essential. When I say essential, it's literally the most essential thing people can be doing for their bodies. Doesn't matter what symptoms they have, cancer, chronic pain, and we'll talk about this in a second. So the reason our products, not any others, but in general, I'm talking about the reason CBDA or the hemp plant targets and helps with almost every kind of possible symptom, including you have a little spider bite. I got some fly biting me in my neck. I applied it, worked immediately. I got a sunburn, as you mentioned, with by the way, I love my chronic silver, especially his nasal spray. I just took it this morning, and I love how much sets your brain up for success. It amazes me. Like
Right.
I do my Nesas and I do his nasal spray, and I'm just rocking and rolling. My brain is on the fire. So yes, my chronic silver is doing a great job, and this is I'm a biggest fan for his nasal spray. So with that being said, what is really happening? The biggest thing what nobody talks and everybody has a aha moment when they get to listen to me for 5 minutes. Do you really believe that God created these temples perfectly fine, just the way he created? I truly believe he knew exactly what he was doing when he created these temples. What happens is the most important information that's missing anywhere in the world in the medical systems, that human body does actually have this very important essential system. It's called endocannabinoid system. Endocannabinoid system, it's literally like the most important thing you empower when you have you're breastfeeding your newborn baby, because the mother's breast milk is full of these kind of type of cannabinoids, the ones we have in the Nestle's bottle. So with that being said, keep in mind this is still federally illegal, right? So that means we should say mother's breast milk should be possibly illegal, or endocannabinoid system should be, but those are part of us. It's literally the most essential role that we actually do with endocannabinoid system. Endocannabinoid system regulates your central nervous system. That means the central nervous system cannot function without endocannabinoid system. Immune system does not know what to do about endocannabinoid system. Your actual pain management does not know what to do about endocannabinoid system. Your inflammation does not know what to do endocannabinoid. And the list goes on. When we talked about benefits, you mentioned 5 or 7, it's tens of thousands. The benefits are unlimited because supplies the most important mother system in a human body that doctors don't even know how to pronounce. Okay, don't even know how to spell, don't even know what it is, and supports that the most important system that gives a supply chain basically to the other systems in the body to not just protect you from any disease, not just help you to fight, but also keep the balance the moments you're not keeping balance with yourself. So it's like literally, it's the most, it's, it's, it's air, water, and food. This is how essential the system is, and the benefits are beyond unlimited. I'm talking about, for example, where I learned specifically, because there's not enough research on the CBDA. And the reason why they don't do enough research on CBDA, because it's a natural mother plant. The one cannot be controlled, patent, just like CBD is patented formula. CBD is a drug. People need to get out of their brains and need to realize that CBD, just Google. your smart Google, the one that's controlled and loved by only God knows who, it is gonna tell you CBD is a drug. It's called Epidiolex. You and I know you can't patent Mother Nature. If you patenting Mother Nature as a drug, clearly is not natural. If it's not natural, then what it is? And what we have a drug in every single store, in every single market, in every single everywhere. And people talk about this CBD thing. So again, we're talking about the drug, but the real plant, the most important one that truly empowers human endocannabinoid system, and the bodies can function without the ones we empower when the babies are born with the true mother's breast milk, is actually CBDA, THCA, CBGA, and all acidic cannabinoids. Sadly, they cannot be controlled and patented by pharmaceuticals the way CBD is right now, because CBD is actually not natural version. It's an adulterated synthetic version. It's a not natural. It's not a hemp plant. It is coming from the hemp plant, but it's been re-engineered and been designed to become a drug. So the real plant has never been talked about, has never been researched, because the research is not beneficial here. Because if we're going to research, we will need to discover new science, how many health benefits in there, and we need to give it to the people in the grocery stores as a superfood. That means we're going to heal America in 90 days and pharmaceuticals will crash.
Right. And so I know that's a big driving point. Like we talk about some of these products that I've been learning about since December, Mycronic Silver being one of them, Air Water Healing. We had Mike Dillon on, Rick Hill. We had, I think you're familiar with John Richardson out here with RNC Store. And it always comes down to this. You're right. It's the money. It's if they can't control the plant or what comes out of Mother Nature and our earth, then they don't want to be a proponent of it. They don't want it on the market, because then they lose all their monetary, gain from that, and they can't synthesize it, they can't break it down, they can't make all these derivative products that have next to nothing of any real product in it at the end of the day, and a lot of toxins. And one of my questions was about contaminants that are in supplements that you mentioned have maybe some mild spores. Of course, heavy metals is a very bad thing. I really want to get tested for that. And so what do people not understand what are in their products off the shelf at Walmart and Walgreens, and these supplements that they think are good for them, but are not?
The most dangerous things that causes not just cancer, but some other very chronic disease, including heart attacks. I'm not joking. I am so dead serious right now. I heal people for a living. This is what I do. I had to save my mom from cancer. I did. And since then, I saved hundreds and hundreds of people from all kinds of chronic, not just cancer, but other chronic disease, including I've been working with ALS successfully too. So with that being said, I'm coming from how I can heal the patient as fast as possible, as safely as possible, where we can give a permanent results. So for me, anything I use, I can trust some marketing materials and some labeled brochures or websites, what they tell me. I have to know the truth for myself. So I have to test the products myself. So exactly what I did in cannabis industry. Before I started my own brand, I had to go walk every single facility, most labeled top companies in the world that actually publicly traded today. And I tested these products. And guess what, my sister? I literally found not just the metals, but also in some of them BTGN bacteria that causes E. coli. I mean, and mothers are desperate buying because they heard some health benefits on CBD. There is no regulations. There's zero regulations right now how to actually produce these products, unless you have somebody like Nesa's Hemp who goes above and beyond crazy and tests in not parts per million, parts per billion, where people get tricked when they see lab tested. I'm gonna right now teach every single person. I don't want anybody to ever follow me. I don't want you ever to become my being, or you can depend on your own. I want to teach independence. Independence is for you to understand when somebody tells you lab tested, it's like going to the doctor and say, I just did my labs. Labs from what? How many red blood cells you have in your body, or how many viruses, or you have AIDS or cancer? What did you test yourself from? So when people see lab tested, because such a tricky word, and I see companies using it and it's scamming people all day long, and drives me nuts because I know exactly what it means, because I test these products and they're beyond belief what's happening there. I can't wait to do what I'm actually doing as my next project, because I feel very sorry for these companies, very sorry for doing what they're doing. Lab tested means you didn't test for the metals. That doesn't mean test for the mold. Mold is our country, our world, our earth is getting eaten up by mold right now. The fungus, I check 3 to 5 patients a day, and I never seen a single patient, including children, does not have a fungus overgrowth. This is mold. Where that's coming from? Foods. Where that's coming? Products like CBD. And products like CBD is actually very easy to contain the highest amount of metals, because hemp itself by Mother Nature is a soil cleaner. It actually it's like a sponge, grabs every single metal, toxin, everything and above. So you have to grow hemp the way we do. You prep the soil for 2 years. You have zero returns, zero money, zero, you just preparing the soil. Preparing the soil. You're not making any money. Companies don't want to do that. They want to grow it. Doesn't matter what's in it. Let's restructure the products, sell it. That's it. So people need to understand lab tested. Always ask lab tested for what? Just a cannabinoid count that you have a CBD and you have no THC in it, or you always want to know metals, pesticides, solvents, gases, molds, bacteria, and you name it. You want to go the entire list. If you don't have those kind of lab tested, it's not the right product. And guess what? There's only a few companies in entire America is trying to do the full panel of lab tested. So, and the rest of the companies using this magical word lab tested. Lab tested for what? That you have a CBD 50%? I don't care. I don't even care to have a CBD. That stuff is a drug in the first place.
Exactly. And so it does get tricky with the labeling, and people don't recognize, we're so conditioned to just believing what things say on the bottle or the packaging from all the years of them not letting us know how dangerous things were and all the fillers and chemicals they put in them, that it's really hard to switch everybody's mindset. And so as far as the when I brought up that hemp is not habit forming, has no psychoactive properties, so it doesn't make people high, I think that's a point you should touch on, because a lot of people in the older, like the older, whatever, 50 plus group, are on medications, they're on the statins, they're on the heart medications, they're on aspirin, they're just on so many different combos. So I would love to hear you tell us that, because so people are afraid to incorporate any products, even natural products, into their regimes, because their doctors have said, oh, don't take this, or you're going to have a reaction if you possibly include something else over the counter. You know how they scare people. So tell us a little bit about it not being habit forming, and that, it doesn't affect you and your daily activities as far as like getting high from it as another product would with the THC, and that it can be taken long term, and that they're, and we're not doctors. I'm not a doctor, obviously. So we all want to say, always check with your medical providers. What we provide here from our founders of our companies and those that are in this space is just information for you to try to use the best of your ability. You always have to double check, because everybody's different. Your bodies are different. So are your medications. So just saying that, we're not suggesting it's going to be a cure-all, but it may help with some things that you may not have thought before this. So let me hear from you a little bit about the habit forming, the no psychoactive properties, and then also the long-termness, not to necessarily affect other things that you are taking, possibly pharmaceutically.
So this whole thing where the doctor tells you not to take because it might give you a side effect, this is where I want to sit down with the doctor immediately myself. At this point, it's so insane to me. This is actually, if I don't think people realizing at this very moment, for this plant specifically, for people not to take in a daily basis, it's literally a crime, a physical crime against humanity. Again, our bodies, your vision, your microbiome, doesn't matter how many probiotics you take, cannot communicate well until endocannabinoid system sends that signal. Your prostate, your ovaries, your brain, your immunity, your everything. That means it's the main holder in your body. And our bodies makes these cannabinoids. The problem is we lose them by age 16, 18, and our bodies become what you call inflamed, because the system that controls the inflammation to always put it down is no longer producing these specific low molecules in the body that are responsible to regulate it. So what happens next? Now you're deficient. You go to the doctor and doctor tells you you should take this specific drug to put your inflammation down. Instead, empowering your endocannabinoid system that actually destroys inflammation. Your own. So what I'm saying here is what Nesa's hemp has exactly. We don't have anything that's outside your body. As you just born baby, you already have that inside of you. You're making it. It's in your mother's breast milk. My sister just delivered the baby. And I'm literally planning to go and test her breast milk in a cannabis laboratory because I'm very confident I'm going to find these cannabinoids in my sister's breast milk. It's a real thing. So because research is saying it should be there, it's in there. So I'm going to see which laboratory is planning to do such game with me because, they're going to think I'm crazy. I'm bringing breast milk in a, cannabinoid laboratories, where they're testing for cannabinoids. So, but at this point, what I'm trying to say here is not meant for you to get high. The products on the market, yes, because that's an agenda that's marketed. That's a completely, let's make them. And I've never smoked weed in my life. I'm very against smoking weed. Cannabis itself is 100% engineered plant. THC never really existed in Mother Nature. That's a man-made genetics. Those never existed in Mother Nature. What exists in Mother Nature, very low THCA, CBDa, those we had for tens of thousands of years, and that belongs to our bodies. Our bodies makes it. In fact, it controls entire human system. And you become deficient. When you become deficient, you become moody, you become inflamed, your immunity is not working well, your microbiome cannot communicate very well, no matter how many probiotics you take. So yes, there's a huge difference what's happening on the market and what's happening behind the scenes in the real world for the last tens of thousands of years with this plant.
And so that's interesting too about the THC. So these are not my areas of expertise. And so I'm sure a lot of people out there, this is new information for them as well, because they do just hear what they've heard all this time. And back in the 70s, THC and pot was, people were just growing it in their, I guess, garages, and not what they have now with all the chemicals that they infuse, the oils they put in. It's terrible for your lungs. It sticks to your body. And it's just toxic. There's just toxic chemicals in these items they have now. And even just the CBD products that you were mentioning, everybody has CBD something, CBD creams, ointments, like you name it. You see it everywhere. There's signs in all the stores. And I did wonder how it can go from a so-called regulated industry where CBD, you had to get it from particular, retail stores. And now the Circle K sells it. And I just thought, that's so weird that they were able to mainstream it like that. And everybody can carry this compound, that is not medical per se, but it does do medical, things, I guess, to your body in positive ways. And so we're scrolling through your website just now when you were talking, and if people want to, thinking, I need to do something to feel better, I want to try something that might make me feel better, not to mention the actual benefits, we talked about, but you also mentioned chronic pain, obesity, which we know is a huge problem in America, leading to diabetes. And then the inflammation is what is occurring. And then the autoimmune happens because of that. MS. I have never known so many people, MS used to be a limited thing, it seemed like. And then people about 15, 20 years ago, maybe 20, 25 years ago, I was noticing people in their middle 30s, 40s, where everybody was getting MS or they were getting diagnosed with MS. I don't know, you never know the diagnoses if they're accurate or not these days. And then, of course, Alzheimer's has become such a big problem, as well as cancer, let's be realistic. And so these bigger items and these bigger medical problems, when people take your products, what do they find or what are you hearing from them most often that they can say and pinpoint? Just I want everybody to go on the website. Obviously, please go on the website always and do your own research and read the testimonials, which are the most important from people, around the country using. But what is like maybe your number one product? And then how is it taken? Are there time of days that people should be looking at? Should they not take it if they take, let's say, heart medication, diabetic medication, insulin? Is there things they should avoid it intermixing with at the same time of day? Because that's a thing. And then what are some of the best positives that people are saying that you can share with our audience so that they know what they're going to maybe get to experience possibly themselves?
Couple things. One, especially a 3 months product really needs to be used regularly to get into the system and start activating the engine that's been dead for the last 10 to 50 years, whatever age of the person is using the product. So when you start that engine turning on, where your engine makes the same own cannabinoids, then after 3 months, you can start lowering the dose and start kind of playing around. The best way to use this, I tell people all the time, every time you brush your teeth, every time in the morning and at night, hold under the tongue. In the morning, you probably want to hold a little bit less, half of the dropper. At night, probably full dropper. Hold for a minute or two. As you're holding, you're absorbing into your gums. Your gums, your roots are connected to your brain. So when you're actually holding here and destroying inflammation in your gums and eventually swallow, which is helps the entire body, which is through the bloodstream. What I'm saying here is you're also healing your brain at the same time, not just the gums. So use it twice a day. If you're truly using twice a day and you stop eating nonsense, what you call food in these days, or this deadly substances out there. So if you're not going to take deadly substances and if you're going to continue to take the oil, you must experience a benefit. And for each person is going to be different benefit because you might be deficient on something or where your hair is not growing. Some people, maybe something is happening where you can't get pregnant. So I don't know, but I seen it anything under the sun where people start seeing better, vision improved, where people not just inflammation got, like inflammation is very big thing, no questions asked. I mean, takes that away
Yes.
pretty quickly. But when people come to me saying, Nesa, did you know, like, I didn't do anything different in my life. I couldn't get pregnant for 9 years. I just used your product and a month later I'm pregnant. So like, I didn't know that, but understanding that endocannabinoid system regulates the ovaries, that kind of makes sense because now the ovaries turn
Or
into the work. It's
right.
like everything is working in your body to the max capacity. So maybe your max capacity is 70% and my max capacity is 90. So maybe before you use the product, you're running your capacity in your body in every organ in every system about 40%. So as you take Nesa's hemp, all the systems and all the organs starts working into 70, whatever your max is. And a lot of times people cannot experience max 100% because they're full of garbage. Pounds of garbage we remove. I have a Regenesis 369 program where we help people detox 6 months. We hold their hand from the day 1 to the day 6 months we end. And we literally remove anywhere from 30 to 70 pounds from the skinny to somebody who's a heavyweight of not just massive parasites, not just massive toxins, plaques, you name it, mucoid plaques, mucus walls. It's crazy what's come out from people's bodies. So yes, your body not by be thriving and fixing things immediately, only because and healing it, only because you're still carrying that very dark inside of you. Clean your temple, do the best you can to empower your temple, and at the same time, yes, using twice a day, it does make a huge difference. I never seen a person who does not experience results. And the beautiful thing, we just launched the most powerful product on the market, B17, with actually Nesa's CBDA full spectrum. It's literally, it's I don't even know if the market yet, but I know this week's supposed to be there or
I
be
see it. I see it on your website. I do see the
okay.
certified, the nutrition powder. I was going to ask you about the powder with B17 because it's the powder. So is the powder the version of the dropper form with the B17 added? Is that what that is?
No. So the you use it's a new formula created. It took me a whole year, and John Richardson, a dear friend of mine, who is actually been in B17. What we discovered, there's a lot of science behind where nobody talks about. We find all this information in universities on the research how if you use B17 with actually a pure hemp, the one we produce, the one that is a mother nature, not the drug that's sold on the market. So if you use those two, it does beyond incredible things. One is killing cancer cells and mutated cells, or even the parasitic cells, the ones I'm talking about, that causes you gain 50 pounds of toxins in your body, while Nesa's hems to push things out and activate the whole organs to support that killing process. And that powder is beyond a rock star because all the powders on the market drives me nuts because I've been a poor person. I had not a dollar in my pocket. I really did not. I've been under the bridge. I had to face, that's what I said. When people complain about this country, please stop. I seen the dark. I seen so dark that only God could understand what to do with me. So when I'm saying this, when people using supplements forever and they don't get better, powders, all what they do just empower immune system. This powder is meant to focus on the root of the cause. So that means as you use it twice a day, now starts detoxing your liver slowly, detoxing your colon, detoxing your spleen, killing all the bugs in the body, and at the same time targeting the cancer cells. Why endocannabinoid system is empowered to all the systems to work perfect to push things out. So at this point, when people have very low budgets, to using those two, and if you include the mycronic silver, because you must kill the all the bugs in stomach acid. The stomach acid, I don't care how amazing your product is. I don't care what you take. If that stomach acid does not break down these nutrients for you to absorb, they come out right from that little hole that is actually in your below your belly. You poop things out. So there's no reason for you to actually even eat anything healthy or even drink because you must kill the bugs in stomach, which is using mycronic silver is the best way of doing it. Then you detoxing the body, you empowering, and as I said, very low budget, affordable to everyone. And after you use it 6 months, I wouldn't be surprised. Half of your disease is gone forever.
So that's amazing. So the product she's referring to is on the website now, along with the two hemp extracts. One's 500 milligrams in a dropper form that's sublingual under your tongue. The other's 1,000, and then the certified full spectrum nutritional powder with B17 she was just mentioning, that has a lot of other properties involved to help other areas. And she was mentioning John Richardson, rncstore.com. A friend of ours here in Arizona, he actually has his manufacturing plant here in Arizona. So I've seen it. And all of these people that I bring to you, that I have brought to you since early this year, are some that I met in December here in Phoenix at the Turning Point America Fest that we have every year. And I'd not been in this area of products before. I really didn't know about any of these products. I was definitely a GNC person all these years, and buy one, get one at CVS, which I know is terrible, by the way. If it's that cheap, it's probably awful. But we live and learn, and it does come down to budget, like she's saying. But her products are not expensive. So the price on the powder with B17 is $89.99. It's a larger bag. I'm assuming the dose is one scoop every morning, every night. Is that what it is in water? Is that how they take it, or juice or something like that?
I tell people all the time because powder is very strong. So you start very slow, one scoop one, let's say, tablespoon in the morning, one at night. And if you have something chronic, if that dose felt good on your body, increase to the higher dose, because keep in mind, it's a killing detoxing process. It's targeting root of the cause. It's not just empowering immune system to keep helping you to kind of deal with the root of the cause. This is targeting a root of the cause. You're basically in the healing journey here. So twice a day with 1 tablespoon. And then if you did well with that, increase the dose so you can kill more and continue the journey so you can heal faster.
And you guys can find all these products on Nesa's Hemp. It's Nesas, hemp.com. It's all in the descriptions already on all the channels. The links are there. You also can find Inesa. She has her socials at Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube at Nesa's Hemp. So you can hear more from her. There's testimonials on the line. Don't always believe me. I'm always honest here. I've yet to use her products. I want to use her products, and I will be trying her products. I think I can give you Patriot Mom 007 as a code. Not exactly sure what it's going to get you right now because I didn't finish talking to her guy online before today. But if it's not my code, check it out regardless for yourself, because you can't know what things are going to work for your body. Everything is so specific, and the chemical balance of your body is so, like so specific that anything can at any time that you infuse into your body either make it better or not make it any better. But you have to figure it out by taking the products. You can't just read about them, hear about them, and think they're going to work. And by using the other products and things on the market, on the shelves that you have been using, and you have everybody has inflammation. Inflammation is like the biggest chronic problem of our country. They don't talk about it because all of the products, all of the foods, all of the toxins, everything in the environment, they all create inflammation. And that's also a proponent of all these autoimmune diseases that you keep hearing about that are just so prevalent. Pretty much everybody has something now. And so we do need to get rid of not only the toxins out of our food and our systems and and what we put in, but also all the better supplements need to replace some of these shelf products that we've been led to believe at Walmart and Walgreens that are healthy for us. They're not. Things with fillers. You want to be able to see a product and like the Mycronic Silver, and you want it to be the silver product. You don't want it to have 10 other items that you can't pronounce behind it. That's never a good thing. And so check this out, get online, look around, and then we definitely want to, and we're going to know you obviously forever. And now that I know that you know everybody I'm learning about, it's really nice, because when you find a good group of people who are dedicated solely to making other people healthy, I talk about law enforcement, our first responders, their whole job is to save people's lives. And in the same respect, what you and John and Jeff Adams do is the same. It's just a different avenue, is helping people enhance their lives, through your products, right? And it's important people understand that what you're doing is not, I always say, not necessarily money driven. Of course, you have to make a living. Everybody does. Nobody can do everything for free. So that's the reward at the end of the day for your hard work and all the years you've put into this. But these people, if you could meet them, I will tell my audience, if you could meet these people, and I hope to meet you here. I hope you're here in December for Turning Point America Fest with John and those guys. But if not, we'll be in touch anyway. But they're such good people. If you could know them and talk with them, and I say get online and chat with them. I'm sure they're all accessible. And some of them have given their phone numbers out. So that's how much they want to help you, is they're not hiding behind a label. They're not hiding behind the commercials. They're just putting out their data for you to review and to understand what is available if you want to try to make your lives better, or your families. If your kids have problems, start with yourself, test it out if you want to be the test case for something, and then, pass it on to your kids if you're finding good results. That's how we make our kids healthier. And so get online, nesashemp.com, Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube at Nesas Hemp. Go to my descriptions, Patriot_Mom 007 on all the channels. Links are there, descriptions are there. You can use this video in the future, hopefully. Listen to what Inesa has to say. It does get complicated. We didn't even get into the science behind it. Sometimes it just is over my head, and just the basic stuff is the good stuff that we need to hear so that we can just tackle it from that perspective without getting too bogged down in the details, and just see if it works, right? And if we need to do more research, of course, it's available. I'm really interested in you mentioned the hand holding process, 6 months that you get people through. I definitely, next time we talk, I want to get more into that. More specialized services from you sound amazing. And but is there anything else that we didn't touch on today that you would like to share?
Most important thing that people should be in charge of their own lives and stop listening, even myself, like go fact check me all day long. Everybody did already and they got tired of doing it. FDA got tired of buying my most tested product on the market globally, and I said, you know, like, um, but what I'm saying here is fact check, go, just don't just follow. Like, it's time to be in charge of your own health and life. It's just don't, just be responsible. Like, there's so much information. Let's stop being lazy. Lazy caused by certain parasites in the body. Just wake up, clean your body, pray, and God's gonna show you what to do. It's just, I tell people, just stop following. Doesn't matter you left or right or up and down, whatever you are. It's just enough is enough. We need to take in charge of our own health, our own lives, relationships, become responsible, accountable for, and that's all what it is. This country and this world has every solution for every disease, for every problem. Every question has five different answers. Please be responsible for yourself. That's all what I have to say. Enough is enough. We need to wake up the people to start moving.
Agree. That is a very well said statement. And before I let you go, I do want you to tell me how to pronounce your last name. Go ahead.
Ponomariovaite.
Okay, wait a minute. Break it down. What is it?
It's actually, I even cut it short on this Zoom. I have it two Zooms. One has my full last name. I don't know because I just shorted, but Ponomariovaite, it's my full last name. Inesa Ponomariovaite.
Yeah, so this is why I did not pronounce it up front because a lot of people try to
Okay.
pronounce names and they just butcher them. Names are very important and it's a beautiful name. She's a beautiful woman. If her products help us even look like this, we should all be buying them today. That is a fact, let alone what it can do for our insides. So I would say this year it's like inside out maintenance. We all go to the gym all the time. I just kind of gave that a whole pipe dream up this year just because I was just trying more like internal things. And this is why I'm looking at all these products. So, you guys, I encourage you to get on nesashemp.com website. We went over it today. There's a lot of information on there. I want to thank you, Inesa, for being with me today. It was such a pleasure having you on. You are just a bright light of energy for sure. So, this has enhanced my Friday 100%.
Thank you so much for opportunity speaking with people. And I just want to say everything I shared today is absolutely from bottom of my heart. And I'm just very passionate for the truth. And yes, I want everybody to be happy and healthy, not through the products, but also through their mind and soul and spirit and through the God's relationship. So God bless our country and let's stay strong all together.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. If you want to stay in the back on mute, that's great. I just have a little bit end of the show to do. If you have to hop off, that's okay too. We'll be in touch. Definitely have a wonderful weekend either way. We appreciate you coming and sharing everything that you did with us today. So
Thank you so
very
much.
good. Thank you. So you guys, so I gotta say, when she was saying like just God bless our country, like that was really like kind of made me kind of sensitive for a minute because you have to understand with what the country's going through and this revamp of safety and security overall for our nation, to hear people who really understand how important it is to be in our country and all that she's accomplished here is no small feat. And just the fact that she acknowledged it, I don't know, it just made me feel really nice to hear her say that. She's a lovely person, obviously. And I'm so glad through Book at CJ, who we have talked with CJ Wheeler here before, Rick Hill, a guest of ours, and others, Mike Dillon, they brought him on for me. They know some really great people, and I'm learning about all of these items. I want to be trying some of these products, of course. Patriot Mom 007 may be up as a code for you to use. Try that if you're going to order today. And as I try the products, I will add things to the site. I don't throw everything up online at first without really knowing what I'm talking about or having some kind of understanding personally of what they do. So I do have a very good feeling that the product is itself is going to do what she promotes. Uh, you know, sometimes people just, you can tell that it is from their heart. They're doing the work that they want to do and not just working for, the bottom line, as we like to say. But if you don't want to believe me, do your own research on everything we talked about, the CBDA versus CBD, and even the THC that she brought up. So it gets intricate chemically, and our bodies are a big, it's a big petri dish that we have here inside, and we do have to figure out what works best for us. So do your own research. If you feel the need to consult any of your, medical team, whether it's your MD, your naturopath, your chiropractor, your Asian holistic doctor, naturopathic doctors, whatever works for you, consult them first, of course, and make sure that it's right for you and your body and your family. And hopefully, you will try it and let me know how it works. I would love to hear from everybody on this one for sure, as I'm trying them myself. And so we're going to wrap up today, you guys. There's no MAGA Minute. Caroline Levitt, I guess, on vacation again. Gosh, she's just, oh boy, this is like the third week. Who's counting, though, that she hasn't done this for me? But a lot happened, and I don't have time to wrap it for you guys. So hopefully you caught up on some things that are happening. We had the Crown Prince of Bahrain come over a couple days ago. They had a big, huge press conference in one of the rooms. I think if you saw that. So he's still actively, President Trump is working with other leaders of countries. The tariffs, I don't know who's affected negatively here in America yet by our tariffs. Let me know, because I live in Arizona. We're not the least expensive state for livability in the nation. I haven't seen anything other than my gas was down to like $2.89 or $3.25 or something the other. Anyway, I filled up for like $32. So that was in a good position for me. I was very happy about that. I just don't see what's happening with the tariffs, that everybody's complaining about them. Enlighten me. Sometimes I don't know everything, who can. So I'm always willing to listen if you have information that I'm just unaware of. We're going to go back to the fentanyl issue, though. Top of the hour, I brought this up. The ICE bust in California that I mentioned yesterday, that Bill Melugin, they were exclusively allowed to follow along with ICE on that raid. At the Home Depot, they wrapped up 10 people with criminal records. One happened to be arrested who was a U.S. citizen because he was out here illegally, but he did decide to band together with the criminal elements against ICE and slash their tires while they were conducting this raid. And so but one of the other criminals actually was convicted previously of fentanyl trafficking. And so I saw this the other day. Nobody talked about it. No, I didn't hear about this at all. I actually was on the White House website, which has a lot of good information if you didn't know. And there was a Halt Fentanyl Act that was passed a few days ago, maybe last week. He signed into law, it turning the families who've been affected negatively with the loss of their loved ones, their children, their siblings, their spouses, into some purpose, leading a national fight to end the fentanyl crisis. President Trump was joined by a few families of the millions of Americans' lives who've been permanently changed by the fentanyl epidemic the last 4 years, especially. And so the key points that this, if we bring up number 4, the key points that this does hit on, this Halt Fentanyl Act. Robert's going to bring up number 4. There it is. Places all fentanyl related substances, including copycat versions, on the DEA's list of most dangerous drugs, classifying them as Schedule 1 under the Controlled Substance Act. So that elevates that to Schedule 1, removes all loopholes to prevent cartels from creating new synthetic fentanyl-like drugs to evade the reach of the controlled substance. Okay, so with the Controlled Substances Act, which is very specific, what they're doing, the cartels, is they water it down and then they create new products, and it takes it under the radar from that Controlled Substances Act and gets it off the DEA's hit list. So it eliminates that from them doing that. It broadens, I think, if I understand this correctly, it broadens it under Schedule 1. So no matter what they synthesize it to be, it will still get swept under that. And it establishes criminal prosecution for anyone possessing, importing, distributing, or manufacturing any fentanyl-related substances in the same manner as any other Schedule 1 controlled substances. So they made it be a big umbrella. This is how I understand these key points. You know, I'm not a lawyer, but this is what I would say, is that they're just trying to broaden the spectrum of how they can nab the bad guys, certainly with fentanyl related issues, because they are smart and they've been doing this for many years. And their goal, you'd think, why would they want to kill people? Like, tiny grain of this will kill the kids, right? They get it in the pills, the Xanax. Of course, they shouldn't be doing that, but kids have all kinds of reasons for these things. So do adults. And it's not their fault, right? They may have other things to address, but those that are hustling these drugs in, the precursors that come from China to Mexico that allow the cartels to manufacture this type of deadly poison, and then they bring it across, into our country by the thousands of pounds that are getting seized. This is really important that it's being addressed. And I don't know why nobody is reporting on this after hundreds of thousands of people have died over the last few years from, 18 to 40 years old. But the last thing we're going to listen to today, is a video from these parents. This is very sad. I hate to end on a sad note. We won't. I mean, I'll come back and say some positive things, but I think it's important that we hear from the people who have been affected most, maybe who don't get any press, because it is sad and not everybody wants to cover this sort of information. To hear from these families and we'll see who they have lost, and then we'll just come back after that. Robert, go ahead. Number 5.
Sorry. 2 of my 3 boys are gone. Life has never been the same.
This is my son, Tony. Tony's not with us here today because he died about a year ago with a counterfeit pill.
We lost our son, Jason Michael Loward, November the 5th, 2023, to an accidental fentanyl overdose.
With the pivotal passage of this bill today, classifying fentanyl as a Schedule 1 narcotic, we're going to make incredible inroads towards combating this crisis.
It's a huge step against the cartels.
If this would have been signed a long time ago, my daughter would still be here with us.
It's tragic that we have to be here today to advocate for this cause because of all the loved ones that we lost.
It's wonderful for us to finally see an administration that's prioritizing this.
This administration and what President Trump has done, finally hearing our cries. And I hope nobody else has to experience this.
President Trump is the hope that we needed.
I want to say thank you to President Trump for all he's done.
I have hope for the first time in 4 years.
He's avenging the deaths of my 2 sons.
I thank President Trump and everybody who passed that legislation today.
Yeah, so you don't really hear that side of it, right? And they have their pictures of their family members and a lot of their kids and spouses, siblings. And it is very sad to think that people accidentally die because they're being poisoned. Their substance issues aside, which is a whole nother, story. They shouldn't be susceptible to poisoning on purpose from the cartels. And I guess they feel like they can poison people and Americans because there's so many people here in the country that they're not worried about losing their client base, apparently. But in the video that we saw, Greg Swan was one of the gentlemen. He lost his son to fentanyl. He says it was amazing what you did. We were being gaslit and you came and lit a fire to that story to President Trump, and we're a lot safer for it. And then Ann Fundner, who lost her son also to fentanyl, says, President Trump, for 4 years we felt ignored, but you've changed that. It is a lifeline for families across America in keeping our families safe. And then Jack Siegel, who lost his daughter, I'm sorry, Jackie Siegel, who lost her daughter and her sister, says, President Trump, it's an honor to be here today on behalf of our family. Very hard for families to do that, certainly on video. They're reliving that every single day for the rest of their lives. And so we just wanted to highlight that, although Carolyn didn't give us our wrap on all the other items that are positive happening in our country. That was positive that this fentanyl act was signed this last week to halt. It's a Halt Fentanyl Act. So look that up. And I don't know if there's resources. If there are, we should look into that and provide those maybe for family members that this has happened to. But know that this administration, whatever you think of the person involved at the top, good or bad, is actively doing things to help families across the nation. You might not like his financial issue policies, and the tariff situation might not, be something you're fond of. But when it gets down to people helping people, these are the people that need help and who have lost everything. And if you lose a child, I won't say too much about that because probably won't get through that comment. But if you've lost a child, that there's nothing worse probably ever happening in your whole entire life than that. So anyway, thank you, President Trump, for keeping that top of mind and making sure these things happen on the law in the books so that future avoidance of deaths of Americans can hopefully take place because of these laws. Wow, so that was not fun. Sorry about that, bringing you down. But it is important. The laws are important, and following them is certainly important. And we're glad that this administration is more law and order and less, willy-nilly open borders. So yeah, it's been a really great Friday, you guys. Inesa, not saying her last name still, really interesting. And Robert, I think Robert might have laughed in the back, but I mean, just being fair. So she was too beautiful to butcher the name. But I do want to thank everyone for tuning in today to American Perspective this afternoon. If you are not here at your lunchtime, of course, you can always catch it forever on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. Well, Facebook Lives, I think, go away after 30 days. Now I'm not really sure what they're doing. But anyway, it's there today for a while. Arizona Live Data, you can catch it there. Kick, DLive, Odyssey, Twitch also have it available for a while. And I also want to thank Robert Johnson. You can find him on X and Facebook at JData17. He has all the live channels, Arizona Live Data, California Live Data, Chula Vista, San Diego, where he is located, plus around the nation. He has other stations that bring you information live, uncensored, uncut from your local utilities, your law enforcement agencies, your board of supervisors, your education departments. So you might want to check that out. Audra Morgan, who's been on our show, she works with trafficking. She does work with him too, and she does a lot of lives out there in California. She's great information, so I highly recommend you check into Eye of the Storm as well when you have time. To learn more about our guest, Inesa, you want to go to nesashemp.com and check the descriptions at Patreon_mom007 on all the channels. The resources and links are shared there now. And please, follow, like, that would be awesome. But even if you don't, I always say, please just share. Just because you may not want the information doesn't mean other people can't use it and it won't be helpful to them. So just hit the share button if you don't do the other two. Facebook, Instagram, Truth Rumble, YouTube at Patreon_mom007. And on X, it is PMOM007. So you always want to get involved. You want to get educated if you do get involved, because if you don't know the challenges in your community, you can't help correct them, not for your family, your neighbors, your city, your state, certainly not federally. It's a big job, but we all have to do it together. The elections are right around the corner as always. There's some pretty hot seats up for grabs, New York being one of them, going full socialist over there with Mamdani. We want to know who the candidates are and really what they believe in. Start where they started. Listen to what they said at the beginning. Don't worry about what they just said last week. They always reveal themselves up front. Everything else is just PR after that, and they just backpedal from there on. So go to the beginning, Google that, use it for your own good knowledge, and make sure that you vote your conscience. You guys all have a vote. I highly recommend you use it. Don't think other people are voting for you and there's enough to balance a scale the way you want it to go. You got to get out and vote. And ultimately, it's your family's long-term safety that you are voting for. So pay attention to who has the best interest in mind right now, and that would be those who like law and order in all areas. Next week, we do have another great guest, a gal from here in Arizona. She's an author, Deborah Boblet. I do know her. I haven't talked to her, I think, in 2 years, but she has a book. We're going to talk to her and see what she's been up to in Arizona. She's a lovely person, so that'll be exciting. Next Friday, we'll be back here at noon Mountain and Pacific time and 3 o'clock Eastern time. We go till about 1:30, 1:31 today. But definitely it's Friday. It's a beautiful weekend here. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, whatever you do with family and friends, hopefully something enjoyable, maybe rest and relax. And I definitely look forward to seeing you again next week on American Perspective with your host, Noél Roberts, Patriot Mom 007. And with that, Robert will take us out.